In Zeyvan, the wind was a cousin. It brought seeds from forgotten valleys, blew kisses across a mother's cheek, and whispered secrets to the poppies. But one summer, it went still, not quiet, still. When the wind stopped, the wheat stopped dancing. The river, always chattering in her stony bed, held her tongue. Children found their kites like broken birds, wings flat against the skyless breath. No one said anything at first, for silence can sit heavy in a village like Zeyvan, where words are rationed like honey and bad omens hoard interest. Arash, the potter, lived at the edge of the fig grove, where the trees were as old as sin and twice as bitter. His house, made from mud brick and memory, leaned ever so slightly to the left, as if listening for a voice long lost. His wife, Mahin, had died during the red winter, the one that crept in without snow but left bones aching for sun. She had whispered something before she went, something like a name or a warning, but the fever stole it from her lips. Arash hadn't fired his kiln in 20 days. Clay sat limp mounds around the yard, grey as morning ash. His neighbours stopped asking when he'd returned to work. Even the gossiping widow, old Nessa, with her toothless spite, avoided his door. They said he spoke to shadows. They said the fig trees bent towards his house at night. They said Mahin's ghost walked barefoot at the edge of the orchard. Then the shepherd boy vanished, Barzan, son of Zahi, the ringmaker. His goats returned at dusk, bleating as if drunk, their eyes clouded like old milk. Zala tore the veil from her face and screamed into the dust. No echo answered. Zeyvan is a place of shrines and oaths. When something is lost, they light oil at Pir Sabine's grave. When something is taken, they wait. The dead do not like to be rushed. That evening, Zara the weaver's blind daughter sat by the empty fountain and spoke to the wind that wasn't there. "It has been eaten," she said. "The wind has been eaten." Arash did not believe in curses, though his mother had buried a brass knife under the doorstep and his grandmother had told him never to whistle after dusk. He believed in clay. He believed in water and weight and the way a bowl could hum when the fire loved it just right. But when his kiln cracked like a bone split in frost, he knew something had come unstitched. He walked to the grave of Pir Sabin with a jug of spring water and 3 withered figs. The grave was smooth stone nestled in a crescent of elder grass, watched over by a hawthorn tree that bled when pruned. He poured the water, laid the figs, and said, "If you know what has happened, say nothing, but let the hawk fly east." A hawk passed overhead. Its wings made no sound. He found Zara sitting cross-legged near the place Barzan was last seen, where the fig grove gives way to the sleeping stones, those ancient black rocks that sweat salt and never grow moss. She had her hand on the ground. "There is a hollow here," she said. "A place where the world forgot to finish itself. I think Barzan stepped in." Arash knelt beside her. He touched the soil. It was warm, then cold, then warm again. He smelt iron and fig sap and something older, something like dried bones. "You have clay under your nails," she said. "That means you can bind. Maybe not close, but bind. It's better than nothing." He returned to his home and broke his silence. "Mahin," he said to the room, "I think the wind is bleeding." That night, Arash dreamt of Maheen, though she came with someone else's voice. She stood by the kiln, her hands cupped around a flickering flame the colour of bruises. "You buried me with your silence," she said. "Now you must dig with your breath." He awoke with a name in his mouth. Tisra. Tisra the Bone Witch. She lived beyond the almond groves, where the air stank of fox piss and the trees bore no fruit. Her hut was made of scrapulas and sinew, laced with horsehair and copper wire. No one visited her unless they were desperate. Arash was desperate. She greeted him without surprise. "The wind told me you'd come," she said, "before it got eaten." She gave him a lump of cloth soaked in something that steamed even in the sun. It smelled like oily rags and animal musk. "Weave this into your clay. Speak no names while you mold. Do not look at your reflection while it dries. And remember, the wind can forgive, but the thing that eats it cannot." "What is it?" he asked. "A hunger without skin." He shaped the vessel over 3 days. He slept beside the wheel and sang to the clay in the voice his mother used when weaving charms. Zara came once, touching the rim with reverent fingers. "It will hold," she said, "but it wants to be broken." He made it wide as a goat's belly, with mouth as tight as a miser's purse, no patterns, no glaze, just silence etched into shape. He fired it in the ruins of his kiln, feeding it dry fig wood, goat bones, and the locks of his own hair. It did not crack, it pulsed. They carried it to the hollow beneath the sleeping stones. "Do not call it by name," Zara said. "Names are invitations." He opened the jar. The earth shuddered. The trees leaned away. The sun dimmed, though no clouds passed. Then, from the tear in the world, came a voice like mold growing in a throat. "This is not your shape." "It is yours now," Arash said. The wind came screaming from the gash, not as air, but as memory, sound, grief. The jar sang. The trees howled. Then Barzan stepped out. His eyes were too calm, his teeth too many. He looked at Zara and said, "Thank you for the thread." Zara bled from her ears. The jar cracked. The world buckled. "Bind it," she whispered. "Bind me if you must." He placed his hands on the jar, thoughts of Maheen, of silence, of wind in a spring morning, and he whispered the one name that had never been spoken aloud in Zeyvan. The jar sealed itself. The tear sighed shut. Morning brought the wind, gentle and uncertain like a child after a nightmare. Barzan spoke in riddles now. "The fig tree remembers who planted it. A river carries its own bones. Never thank the wind, it might answer." Zara weaved again. Her rug showed things that had never happened or had not yet happened. A black hollow, a woman with no face, a bowl that sings with screams. Arash buried the jar beneath the oldest fig tree. He placed Maheen's ring inside before sealing the soil. The tree wept sap for 7 days. He never spoke to her shadow again. Tisra was gone. Her hut was nothing but bone dust and copper threads. In her place grew a plant with leaves shaped like ears. The villagers began to speak of wind again, but only in proverbs. The wind is a knife without a hilt. The wind goes where blood once fell. And quietly among the old women and the blind, they began to say, Arash found the wind, but not all of it came back.
Yo
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider sharing it with a friend and leaving a review. It really helps others find the show. I'd love to hear what you think, so feel free to send your thoughts, questions, or feedback to podcast@avastera.net. Until next time, keep the flame lit.